toothpaste!
Welcome back with another new video and with another new JaidenAnimation's channel. And today, don't want to touch. Hold on. There we go. Don't worry about that. Okay. I remember her back 2018, but I did not watch her videos. I think maybe I don't know, but I never watched her videos. Never, right? Like fully, and then I never watched the whole thing, right? I remember her. But here's the thing: 2018 was where I discovered JaidenAnimations. I didn't know it was really big, but I knew it was big, but I didn't know. I know, right? Like I started seeing these animators like on YouTube, like what? I don't know, but it was really big. Jaiden, never watched it. Only the onward song. That's the only channel I did watch. The most I remember and watch. YouTube watch, but you know, I kind of moving on to different something. So, Jaiden, this is my first time watching her videos. So, you know, let's get to it, right? All right. Let's got this one. It's very recent. Yeah. I always drink these, so when I go make a video of it.
One time I was at an arcade and saw someone with an Ari bag, so I went up to them and said, "Hey, I really like your bag." She turned around, looked straight at me, and said, "Thanks, it's from JaidenAnimations." Oh, cool. And then I just walked away because I didn't know how to salvage that interaction without being weird about it. As someone who has somehow amassed a big number on YouTube website, you'd probably expect me to be recognized fairly frequently when I'm out on the town. I do definitely get recognized here and there, but given that almost all of the content I've posted is me in cartoon form, it's much less than you'd think. Yeah. I don't really expect to be recognized unless I'm going somewhere that attracts people who are more online, such as conventions or Hatsune Miku concerts. Of course, I've been in plenty of IRL content on other people's channels, so it's not like no one knows what I look like, but that barrier has given a bit of cushion on how often people will notice that JaidenAnimations is in their vicinity. The majority of my fan interactions are very positive and follow this general flow. Are you JaidenAnimations? Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love your videos. Can I get a photo? Yeah. Alright, thanks. Bye. Yes. It's simple. It's streamlined. Everyone's happy. Of course, not every interaction goes like this. And naturally, people always want to know about the outliers. The bad interactions. The weird ones. Any freaks out there that you've met, Jaiden? I'm lucky enough to be able to say, you guys are pretty normal. There's not really any single experience that comes to mind when people ask me that. So thank you. Gold star to every single person I've met in my entire career so far. However, I do have some funny stories I've collected. Like one time, Jacob and I were sitting down at the Toadstool Cafe to film for their video about Nintendo Land when this one guy walked by and recognized Jacob. Oh my gosh, are you Alpha Red? Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love your videos. Can I get a photo? Yeah, you know, everything's going as per the script. At this point, I piped up and asked, would you like me to take the photo for you? And as I said that, Jacob and I both saw that the guy suddenly recognized my voice, and therefore, me. Now knowing there were two YouTubers at that table, he started to ask if I was Jaiden, but mid-sentence realized that if he was incorrect, it would look a little tiny bit racist. You know, you can't always just assume the Asian girl with Alpha Red is Jaiden, even though 90% of the time you'd be correct. So he ended up pivoting halfway through to cover for the mistake, which ended up like this. Would you like me to take the photo for you? Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but who are you? Of course, we knew what he meant. I say I'm Jaiden, everything is fine, we all take a photo together. But being able to see the line his brain took in real time was so funny. It's one of my and Jacob's favorite stories because he meant it so well. Like, I completely understand what happened. But also asking, sorry, but who are you? To someone offering to take a photo is just... I would love to meet that guy again and just tell him how much we love that interaction. Dude, if you're out there, I hope your Toadstool Cafe food was good.
You don't want to make that mistake.
Because ours wasn't. There actually have been times, though, where people have thought they've run into me, and were just wrong. I've seen tweets tagging me like, OMG, just met JaidenAnimations. As I'm currently sitting at home looking at a photo of some poor random Asian girl. When we were all on tour for Scribble Showdown a while back in Chicago, James and Emily went to go look at the Bean, and James ended up getting recognized. While he was talking to the group of people, one of them saw Emily and went,
if you're wondering how I score top essay marks like these in university, one of my secret...
And oh my gosh, it's Jaiden! James immediately starts laughing his ass off, trying to correct them, but somehow wasn't clear enough because when they were all taking a photo, they were like, Jaiden, get in front! Another time, when Jacob and Joe posted a video of themselves playing Mario Wonder in a GameStop, at the very end, Joe turned the camera around to the girl filming and said, are you JaidenAnimations? The bit being it was our friend Sarah Moon, who is not me, but has been called Jaiden by confused viewers in the past for really no reason. But still, hundreds of people in the comment section of the video still thought she was me anyway because Asian girl. Then to poke fun at...
Yeah. You do show your face, yeah, right? But I guess not much. And I guess some different artists are sort of similar to Jaiden. I think that's Jaiden. I'm thinking right now. I'm trying to make sense here. And confused as of Jaiden. But some people know it's like, yeah, that's not it. But some people think that, oh, you're Jaiden. But that's no.
That situation, a while later they asked me to record them playing Mario Kart in a round 1, and in it said, huge shout out to Sarah Moon for recording this video, as the camera panned to me. And you'd think people would catch on to the joke, but so many more people were like, okay, I thought that was Jaiden in the other video, but was afraid of being racist. Not realizing
it was a joke, but people think it's
still not getting it. Sarah and I genuinely look nothing alike, but just pointing at one of us and going, Jaiden will convince hordes of people in comment sections without fail. It's like casting an inescapable Jaiden spell. On the opposite side of the coin, I was in San Diego for TwitchCon last year, perusing the San Diego Zoo with some friends. And honestly, to hype it up a bit, the San Diego Zoo is awesome. I legit went there 3 times during the 3D event, which to the math nerds out there means I went to the zoo more times than the actual convention. Anyway, someone ended up coming up to me with an, excuse me, that I registered as I was being recognized. So I turned around, expecting the typical fan interaction. Sorry to interrupt, but are you Emaru?
Emaru.
I was stun-locked. It threw off my whole script, and I accidentally blurted out, oh, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just Asian. And the guy didn't really have anything to say about that. He just went, oh, okay, thanks. You know, it was a nice little dose of humble for me, though. I got a kick out of Emily and Sarah being called Jaiden, and now I've been struck by the Emaru hammer. Look, I'll be the one to say it, though. None of us look like each other. We're just Asian women on the internet, and not even the same kind. Right? So, yeah, if you ever think you see your favorite Asian creator in the wild,
oh, it was Jaiden.
Make sure
it's not Jaiden.
You double check. Sometimes I can tell people are secretly Googling me before asking for a photo just to be sure.
Not just double.
And you know, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I didn't mean to go off on this whole tangent about people accidentally being racist. I'm sorry, there were just a lot of instances of it. We can get back on track now. The very first time I was recognized, not in like a convention setting, was in a random Target. I was walking down an aisle chatting with my friend Kelsey when someone passed by, backtracked, and came up asking, are you Jaiden? Now this was back in 2017 when I had significantly less content showing my face, so I was completely shocked and not prepared. I was in ugly house clothes, no makeup, hair wasn't washed, literal bridge dweller, and was in the middle of my first public fan interaction. Apparently they recognized me from my voice, which is nuts. Some people have told me I sound exactly like how I do in my videos, and others say
I was lucky though,
I don't, so I have no barometer on what I actually sound like. The person was super sweet. This isn't like a crazy story or anything, but special in my
perform
mind
Jaiden.
because I was so
walk it off.
embarrassed and unprepared for it, mentally and physically. This next one was when Jacob, Captain Kidd, and I were in Hawaii for Pokemon Worlds.
Okay.
We'd all just arrived at the event and were checking out all the fun decorations Pokemon set up. Since
Cool.
all of us have made
Never
a
been
good amount of Pokemon content, a lot of Pokemon fans were recognizing us and asking to take photos. A well-intentioned mom ended up taking notice of how much attention we were getting and asked us what we did for a living for all of these people to be coming up to us. Jacob explained we were YouTubers and she lit up, saying her son watches a lot of YouTube, pointing down at the young boy hiding behind her leg. In an attempt to connect with the kid a bit, Jacob asked what YouTubers he watched. I like Mr. Beast. Seeing a way to make the kid excited, Jacob pointed at me and said, "No way! Did you know she was in a Mr. Beast video recently and won?"
Yeah.
Instantly, the kid jumped up. I've talked to him before, but will you tell him to give me $1 million? First of all, hilarious situation to suddenly be thrust into.
Yeah,
Second of all,
yeah.
now that the kid was suddenly
$1
not
million.
hiding behind his mom's leg anymore, we could see he had a giant gold chain around his neck, sporting a framed PSA graded base set first edition Charizard.
Huh?
Little dude, do you know how much cash you've got around your neck right now? The card was graded like 9.5 as well. I have no idea where he got it from. Like, you always see those, "Can you give me $1 bajillion?" comments on Mr. Beast stuff,
please,
but it was surreal to witness it in real life. Like, it's real. Gold chain Charizard Mr. Beast kid has been cemented in my memories, and he didn't even know who we were. Also, for the record,
that's what I would
after
say,
I
like,
won
does
the
he-
Mr.
does he
Beast cube, my
recognize her
emails were
and
an
him as well
absolute
now?
wreck of random people begging
But I
me for
guess-
money. "Can you give me money? May please get some money? Hi, JD." Not my name.
JD.
Just 10K. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, JD.
Or someone straight
yeah,
up
JD.
sent me a
That's great.
PayPal invoice
I call
for
you JD now.
$10,000 with no message
JD.
attached. Just an
Give
outstretched,
me money.
grubby
Give
little
me money,
hand in my
Jaiden.
inbox.
Give me JD.
Guys, I didn't win any money from that thing. You can stop emailing me.
Why?
We gave it all away to various artists all over the globe to support them through their art school,
Okay.
which was an incredible opportunity, and I was very happy to support artists, and I wish them all the best of luck with their degrees. But stop
Okay.
emailing me for money. Gosh, I don't even
that's so
want to
nice,
know what
Jaiden. I
Mr.
didn't know
Beast's
that.
DMs look like. One time, my phone screen
Oh, that's
died on
pretty
me.
normal,
Not my
Mr.
fault.
Beast,
So I had to
yeah.
take it to a repair shop. This
He
was
knows
unfortunately during a
he's
time when my
he'll
car's
possibly
driver's
overlook
side
a lot of
mirror
people
was
just wanna
smashed.
give him
My
money.
fault. So I also had no street legal car to take me back home while I waited for my phone to be fixed.
Burger
Needing
King.
to kill 2 hours, I ended
Burger
up
Cow.
sitting in a
Burger
nearby
Cow.
Burger King equipped
people
with
might
my
know what Burger
Switch
King
to
is this
play
way.
Hello
It's
Kitty
whatever.
Island
It's
Adventure,
not bad.
and an
You know, it's not
iPad as a
bad, but
second
it's
monitor
okay.
to watch YouTube
Burger King.
videos. I almost made it the entire time with no issue, but like some sort of pathetic Scooby-Doo villain, my plan was foiled as a nice girl came up to me and quickly said, "I really like your videos," before walking back over to sit with her friends. Now, the
Thanks.
interaction itself
Yeah.
was completely fine. I'm just
definitely do
embarrassed
that
at
too.
what
I
it
will-
looked
I
like
definitely
on
would do that.
her end.
Just
Internet
hi.
personality JaidenAnimation sitting
Hello.
completely alone at a single seat table in a random Burger King. No food in sight, just a table covered in
Playing
devices like some sort
game.
of 27-year-old iPad kid. She didn't even let me explain my
27-year-old iPad
situation.
kid.
She just said
Nice.
hi and walked
Hi,
off.
like-
So, kind girl, if you're out there, or even still a fan, it wasn't as pathetic as it looked. It was pathetic, but it's not that bad. I was just passing the time. Please resubscribe. I feel like I lost you that day. Speaking of unfollowing out of shame, a couple of years ago, I went with some friends to my first furry
Subscribe to her.
convention. The furry
Don't-
convention isn't the
I
shameful
get
part,
it, the
though.
shame.
That itself was
Well,
great.
it's
The
like a
actual
goblin, you
shame
said.
began when my group
think-
wanted to
yeah.
check out the 18 plus section,
Who said
mainly out of
that?
curiosity and entertainment. I sheepishly followed them in, and just as I was
Furry
thinking to
convention,
myself,
furry
man,
convention,
it would sure be
convention.
unfortunate if
Whatever
I
I
got
said.
recognized while in here. Oh my
Whatever it
gosh,
is.
are you JaidenAnimations? Yeah. So admittedly, there's a single photo out there of
Single
me,
photo.
a fan, and a very colorful background. Quickly
Okay.
moving on from that one. This story is by far
Alright.
the most I've
Alright.
ever been
Alright, thank you, Jaiden, for
recognized
sharing-
out in
sharing
public
that,
in my
I guess.
entire life. There's probably a teeny little slight possibility I curated it myself by accident, but it was when I went to a Hatsune Miku concert in California. The community somehow has caught on that I like her, and said community was all right there in one spot. Before the
Okay.
concert, I was getting recognized like every few minutes, which is very not normal for me, but you know, completely fine. I don't mind at all. Eventually,
Yeah.
everyone was led into the venue. I was meeting a few more people inside. Then the lights
I
went
would- yeah, I
down,
would
and we
definitely would
all
do
got
that.
to
It's
enjoy
just,
the concert as per usual. However, when the show was over and the lights
Burger
turned
King
back
girl,
on,
I would definitely just say
everyone
hi and just
rotated
leave.
180
do that. I would
degrees
def- I
to
will,
head to
because
the
it's not
exit, which meant
really that
people
important.
could see my
Like,
face
I
again.
get
we
it,
would
right?
make it a
Like,
few steps forward,
I know
get
her, but
stopped,
I
then three
trust
more
it, but
people
I
would
just
come up,
don't really
and I'd
care.
suddenly be against
I just
the
don't
wall.
care,
All
really
while
don't.
my
Come
poor
on.
friends just had to watch it all happen and wait for me. For the first time ever, I needed to figure out a way to get out of there, or else
She's
I would
really
have been
like
taking
me.
photos
She's
with
just
the
like me.
entire
I
concert
would definitely
audience
do
as
that,
my friends
so.
withered
Alright,
on the
anyways.
floor. Sarah put her big hoodie on me, another friend gave me their sunglasses, and
Split the
suddenly,
skies. There we go.
I vanished. No more Jaiden animations. Poof. She was gone. The Clark Kent strategy actually
Oof, she's
works.
gone.
Sarah and I quickly headed to the exit, squishing past unsuspecting Miku fans.
Superman.
And it wasn't until we made it all the way to the parking lot where
Okay.
we turned around and realized
I was there.
we were alone. I was
Yep.
successfully smuggled out, but the downside was the disguise was so overly effective, even our friends didn't know who I was anymore. At least now I know if I'm ever in a sticky situation, a simple hoodie and glasses is really all it takes. I will no
thanks.
longer be making fun of Superman's public
Yeah.
disguise. Dude knew what he was talking about. Despite all of these stories, if you ever see me in public, please don't be afraid to come up and say hi. I'm more than happy to meet you or take a photo. Again, basically every
Yeah.
person I've met who watches my videos was absolutely
it's pretty,
wonderful.
like-
These stories included. And I promise I
It's
won't make a
fine.
video about you if you
To
accidentally
me,
say something
not
a little
really.
awkward.
I know, like,
Unless it was really funny and the
Fine.
world needs to know. Also, I can tell
To
when
me,
you recognize me,
nah.
I've essentially got a spidey sense for it by now, and it's more uncomfortable for both of us if you just stare
Scary.
at me for 30 minutes and then leave. Please, just say hi or something. It's okay. I'm lucky to have such a normal and kind group of people watching my content, and I do really enjoy getting to meet you guys. I guess if you
Yeah.
were to take anything from this
Which is
video,
Jaiden.
make sure you know it's actually me.
Okay.
This is not me.
Okay.
This is not me.
Okay.
This is not me.
Okay. Nice.
I'm this one. Hope that helps.
All right.
Man, it has
Alright, that was
been quite some time.
Oh, very nice, Jaiden. That's actually good. Well, that's not. I like it. I do like it. Next video. All right, JD. Yeah.
Okay, before I even say anything, let's lay out some ground rules. This is probably gonna be the most open I'll ever get about my personal life. I know I've shared
Okay.
tidbits of myself and life through little stories, but when it comes to personal stuff, I'm very private. Especially within the past few years. I'm gonna be talking in very general
Okay.
surface level terms because specific personal details are for me to know, and in the nicest way possible, none of your business. Basically, this is
Okay.
something I want to talk about, share, and bring a spotlight to.
I mean,
But at the same time, you get the Cliff Notes
Yeah.
version. So
Personal,
no trying
right.
to assume or guess anything beyond what I'm sharing within this video. At the end of the day, we're all just strangers refusing to listen to the stranger danger rule. All right, formalities aside, let's get into it.
All right.
I've come to realize that I'm aroace, which stands for aromantic asexual. And I know what you're thinking. That's not gay. What the hell is that? And you know what? That is completely fair because I didn't know what that was either. Aromantic and asexual are two different things, and I'm gonna break them down to you separately, starting
Okay.
with aromantic because no one really knows what that one is. And also, it's my personal favorite. Someone who's aromantic is defined as a person who feels very little to no romantic attraction to anyone at all. So, like, they might not develop crushes on people or feel the need to be in a romantic relationship with anyone. Very general terms, but hopefully you kind of get the gist. If not, here's a little story example from me. Growing up, I never developed crushes on anyone.
me neither. Me neither. Or anything. Huh? Okay. Jay-Z, my one. Continue.
Remember when I was in 5th grade, kids were talking about their crushes left and right, and it was starting to feel like something I had to experience
but you just
too,
don't.
just because I thought that's just what happens. Don't make fun of 9-year-old me. I was a sheep. Anyway, I decided I needed to have a crush because that's just what happens to people. So and I very robotically chose this random kid in the class who we can call Pikachu. That's not his name. He didn't mean anything to me and I didn't do anything about this crush. Like, I didn't tell anyone or anything. It was just a headcanon thing for me to feel up to speed and like I was hitting my normal human emotions quota. But it's funny because on Valentine's Day, you know how in elementary school everyone would bring cheesy Walmart Valentine's cards for everyone in the class, and then you'd have a box full of candy and hollow emotions from everyone.
Okay.
Well, my school did that. When I went through my box, I pulled out Pikachu's Valentine and thought to myself, someone who has a crush on someone would keep this. I think. So I put Pikachu's copy-paste Batman Valentine in my drawer and promptly forgot about it because it meant nothing to me, but hey, that's just what I thought I was supposed to do.
I mean,
I'm so good at this. Then like a year or so later when my mom was going through my room, she pulled out the card and was like, why do you have this? And I was like, honestly, I have no idea. Years passed, I entered junior high and thought to myself, all right, this is the time where people start developing crushes and then do something about it. Like get into relationships or something. So I was like preparing to be interested in people. On the first day of school, I scoped out the room to see if there was anyone that I thought looked like someone I could develop a crush on. And this was when classes started being divided up into periods. So there were like 6 batches of people I sifted through. But no one caught my eye. And I thought, man, unlucky. Went through the whole school year. Next year rolled around, classes changed. I did the same potential crush scoping again. And the same thing happened. I wasn't drawn to anyone at all.
No.
Man, unlucky again. Every year I thought something would change, especially going into high school when people started actually hitting puberty and were getting conventionally attractive. But my entire school life, grades kindergarten to senior year, which I'm pretty sure is like 13 years, I wasn't interested in a single person throughout any of it. And what's funny was I was thinking, man, what's the deal? Why is no one attractive? And I went to a big high school. There were like 3,500 students there.
Wow.
Surely I am not the outlier in this formula. Why are none of you attractive? By the time I was going to college, I really felt like I had to find someone. It felt like I was falling behind the curve, or if I was going to find someone, it was going to have to happen now. I made a lot of new friends, and that's when I thought I developed my first genuine crush. Long story short, in hindsight, no, it wasn't a crush, and I was just wrong. I just met someone who I thought was cool and funny and had a really strong desire to be close to them. But looking back, knowing what I do now, it wasn't in a romantic way. I realized I can get very excited and tunnel vision on people I think are really cool or interesting, and kind of obsess over getting to know them or just want to spend a lot of time with them. But whenever I got into those tunnel vision moments, if I sat down and asked myself if I actually wanted to be in a relationship with them and hold hands or cuddle or kiss, the answer was no, not really. But if they wanted to, I could go along with it, which I do not think is right. In my very old flirting video, which I refuse to rewatch, I think at one point in it,
it's like you just don't feel love at all, and you just try to fight one, but just like I don't get it about love. What is it? You just like you don't have that feeling at all. You just don't know what is love is. Is there a philosophy about love? I just don't know. I think so. Is love real? I think so. I think,
they said something along the lines of, real, if you're interested in someone but they just want to be friends, I don't understand why some people can't deal with that. And that was primarily because I didn't realize there was an emotional difference between a crush or falling in love and just being really good friends with someone. So, oops, sorry for the bad take, I think. Oopsie. I really just thought having a crush on someone was wanting to be their #1 best friend. Look, I said don't make fun of me. To me, it used to...
because you don't get about love, and you can't, and you never don't get it. And you don't, because you just never experience one or something. Me, I don't... No, never.
Feel like if I was wanting to become friends with someone to that high of a degree, that would be the next step or justify why I wanted to put this much time, effort, and energy into one person. And it didn't feel right or even fair going through all of this with someone and then tell them they're just a friend. I don't know, it just didn't feel like it made sense, even though I really didn't technically see them in a romantic way. I just didn't understand what was going on really, or that there was supposed to be real emotions instead of a logical understanding of steps. And the fact that I was under the assumption that I was supposed to be interested in people in a romantic way didn't help with anything. I always preferred to stay good friends, but never felt like I could have that, and I worried that if I said no, that we would just start drifting apart, which I obviously didn't want either. It's been a very long journey discovering this about myself. Everything I'm saying has all been extremely subconscious and not understood or defined for many years. I even used to think I was bi or pan for the longest time because I would think to myself, well, bi is being interested in both genders.
But you just know how love, like, at all hotel life, I guess.
I don't really care for either, but 0 is equal to 0, so I guess I'm bi or pan.
Like, a relationship type of thing,
I got math involved. If I knew what aromanticism was when I was growing up, things would have been a lot less complicated for me a lot sooner. I think it's mainly because people don't really talk about it or even know what it is or that it's real. Romance and love is the #1 most talked about topic on the planet. Everything I've been taught or learned through society is that love and romance is everywhere. Everyone feels it, and it's gonna happen to you. Just a funny little note, there was a point where I was listening to some generic romance song on the radio, you know, like all of them, and I just suddenly thought to myself, wait, do people actually feel these things towards each other? Like all these mushy lyrics are real emotions? They're not joking? And that's when I started feeling like something was different. I approached romance under the blanket term thought of, sure, why not? And didn't recognize it was actually a feeling, which might sound stupid, but look, I don't know. No one presented me with any other options. I did a lot of rationalizing. If someone ever expressed romantic interest in me, I would mentally make a kind of logical list of their pros and cons and the pros and cons of what a relationship would look like with them based on what I knew about them as a person. I didn't realize there was supposed to be an extra, like, excited feeling or the fact that you're not supposed to think about it as if it were a business exchange. I understand compatibility is a huge important variable when it comes to sharing a relationship with someone, but at the end of the day, it's still apparently still a very emotionally driven thing. And I literally had to make that discovery and teach it to myself. Now, I'm going to talk about being asexual very briefly, and I'm going to preface it with, let's all just be mature about this, all right? We're all pretending to be adults here. I've got my eye on some of you.
All right.
Behave.
All right.
Okay, this is definitely treading into uncomfortable personal boundary territory for me, but yeah, I do want to share that I'm asexual too, which is defined as someone who feels little to no intimate attraction to anyone. Look, I know we said we're all adults, but I'm still gonna dance around the vocabulary, all right? Yes, there's a difference between romantic and intimate attraction. Little side note, I will say you can experience romantic attraction to someone but no intimate attraction, or you can experience intimate attraction but no romantic attraction. You can be one and not the other. It's not necessarily a package deal. Most people feel both, and I do not feel either. Anyway, I have never been magnetically attracted to the look or shape of a single person in my entire life, and did not realize it was a real thing until very recently. I'm able to identify when someone looks conventionally attractive, like by textbook definition, but I never realized people are genuinely drawn to people they think are attractive. I didn't know that people could just see someone and be like, wow, they're gorgeous. I would love to get to know that person, or maybe go on a date with them, or whatever else you people do. I didn't think it was real. I thought people were exaggerating or something. I don't know. And I also couldn't believe that some people feel that with multiple people. Or like celebrities, which sounds absolutely exhausting. It ties back to when I was in school, like looking around.
I'm kind of a deal hunter, so.
We use a spectrum.
around for people to like.
Just
It
going
makes sense
crazy.
now
It
that
just
no
doesn't
one
know
caught
what
my
it is
eye
and
because
never.
that doesn't
Well, never
happen
ever.
to me. I was just wasting my time for 13 years. I feel like such a fool. Now,
Nah.
there's an easy assumption to make about asexual people and that they all have zero interest in being intimate with anyone at all, which actually isn't true. Some of them are genuinely turned off by it, and some aren't. Some reasons would be that they just don't mind it, or they want to make their partner happy, or enjoy the emotional closeness of it. There's a
Okay.
million different reasons and a million different people.
But no.
Am I sharing what kind of a people I am? Nope. And you don't know me personally enough in the slightest to be
No.
able to try and parasocially analyze where I stand on that spectrum. I'm just here to say I am this. We are moving on. When I
Okay,
stumbled
just
onto the
saying,
term
like,
aroace
everyone,
and started
like,
realizing I fall
I
into that
would.
category, it helped me feel much more confident and sure of myself. I've read a
Good.
lot about how people
Good.
say they felt broken or that something was wrong with them. But honestly, I was the complete opposite.
Okay.
Coming from my very biased perspective, I think aroace is one of, if not the coolest and most confident orientations out there. Not needing a
So you're-
single gram of romantic or intimate validation from anyone is so cool. All you need is
You just-
yourself to be happy, maybe friends and family too. And birds. The more I
Okay.
came to terms with the fact I'm
It's like
aroace, the more
like
empowered
no
and capable I
attractive,
felt.
no.
But at the same time,
feeling
I
well
was
at all.
also
It's
starting
just
to feel more alone and
don't have that,
isolated.
I
As
guess.
cool and amazing and unique and awesome as I think it is, it can be really hard for other people to relate to or even understand. Everyone else and their orientations are able to bond and relate to the love and romance aspects, and we're over here like, we don't do that. I don't even know if I'm explaining it very well. It kind of does go against everything everyone's ever been taught about anything. Romance is taught to be a basic assumed emotion, which I do think is a bit misleading. A common argument used against the aroace orientation is
Okay.
that romance and intimacy is what makes someone human. But I mean, I don't know, lots of birds mate for life, which is a better ratio than people, and all
Okay.
animals get frisky. You know, that's just how they became not extinct. It's not an exclusive to humans thing. If I were to guess, I would assume the thing that makes someone human is basic empathy. Like, I'm not an emotionalist monster. I can still love people. I love
Okay.
my family
But
and
in,
my
like-
pets. Just
But like in
Platonically.
like in relationship.
and I would hope that you're
You
the
just-
same.
I guess
I just don't experience romantic love,
Yeah.
which I don't know. I don't think that's harming anyone.
No,
Definitely not
no.
me.
Exactly.
I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to be in a relationship to be happy.
True.
And if you don't want to be just on your own, I think there's
Don't
many
have to.
types of people in relationships
Society
that push
doesn't
the
need to force
boundaries
you
of what a
into it.
conventional relationship
I guess
looks
society
like.
had to for-
Telling someone that they need to be in a romantic
Society.
relationship to be happy and fulfilled is
Just JaidenAnimation. Want to be into something that I don't have to? Do I need to? Does it harm anything? Society.
weird. And then when that person says they're not happy, they're told relationships take a lot of work and that's just how it goes. And that's also weird. I
Yeah.
don't know. I also think it's weird that when
society,
someone reaches
yeah.
a certain age, people inherently start thinking it's sad they're not in a romantic
someone not into
relationship, or
relationship,
assume
the
they're
world
lonely
explodes.
and sad. No one thinks a child is sad and lonely just because they're not in a long-term relationship.
I'm not into a relationship and because I don't want to. If someone into a relationship, they're not sad. It's just they don't want to. They don't really like to have one into a relationship. They just don't. You know, she said asexual, asexual. I forgot. But yeah, right. That maybe he is, she, whatever. Like not into anything. That's fine. That's gonna be just not. It's fine.
I don't know. I don't
I
get
don't know.
it.
Maybe who knows?
And,
but
and
that's,
I also think
you know,
I'm rambling.
that's-
At the end of the day, it's all very complicated to talk about these things,
Sure.
especially because I don't know the feelings I'm supposed to be feeling, let alone talk about. I just know for me, the terms aromantic and asexual are
Aromantic,
able
yeah.
to articulate things I was
And
subconsciously
it's like,
feeling and thinking before I even realized I
Sound
was
that
feeling and
power.
thinking them. I don't plan on talking about this very much, if at
Okay.
all, ever again.
It's just-
I just
it's
want to
just one
play my
video,
silly
that's it.
little video games, maybe tell a story here or there. But I
Okay.
wanted to bring the orientations to the surface and try to get more representation out there because I thought if I could help more people become more aware of this, then that would be awesome. I was confused as hell for a while and could have used something like this. It's a real thing. You don't have to feel any sort of romance or whatever to be considered a real person. Personally, I think it's really cool and badass. And don't be afraid to look more into aromanticism or asexualism if any of what I said in this video resonated with you to any degree. Like I said, this is all very surface level stuff. They're both much larger spectrums than you'd think, and maybe you fall under some umbrella category with them. I don't know, or not. Either way, this has all been my personal experience with this stuff. Is there more for me to figure out within it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. It can get pretty complicated and confusing. Haha, awesome. Will I be sharing any of that with you?
I have. That's what I got.
No way, this is all you get. Hope you can understand even just a little of what I talked about. And if not, that's totally fine.
Yeah, no, I get it though.
Just hope you can be nice. Thanks for listening. I never really...
Yeah, another one down. I don't want no relationship matching. That's true. I don't want no relationship matching. I'm thinking that, yeah, I don't know. JaidenAnimation imagine one? Am I matching? Alright, the next video, I got a cat. Right. Alright.
For people who have been around for a while, you might be seeing the title and thinking, Jaiden, aren't you allergic to cats? And to that, I'd say yes.
Okay.
Kind of. I'm actually not sure anymore. And for the people who know anything about me, you might see the title and think, Jaiden, cats are literally the #1 natural predator to birds. And to that, I also say, yes, that one's 100% proven fact. So let me back up a bit and explain how we got here, because all the cards in the world were stacked against the idea of me getting a cat. Growing up, I was irrefutably and absolutely allergic to cats. My best friend had like 3 of the things, and every time I would hang out or sleep over at her house, I would be a sneezy, watery-eyed, snotty mess. Can I have some water? Given the fact my brother was also allergic to cats, it was set that we were a dog family. My whole life I went around not giving cats a second thought. I never had anything actually against them, but since I was forced to stay 20 feet away from them or suffer the consequences, I just couldn't get to know them. Plus, as a kid, dogs were always more appealing. They're more likely to be bigger fans of playing and running around, be more approachable with their genetically bred unconditional love, and can overall be more forgiving. Cut to like 2 catless decades for me later, and I'm meeting Jacob for the first time at his place. As we're hanging out in his living room, his cat Fraser comes over and greets me. Fraser is extremely social and vain, so he's always expecting nothing less than a never-ending stream of attention from the people. Even though he's very cute and distinguished, I deployed my typical foolproof plan of don't touch the cat. Fraser realizes he's not getting any attention out of me and sits down nearby on the couch, but a bit later, Jacob's other cat ends up making an appearance. This one's Taylor. She's normally really shy and hides, but does really like women, which I am. Taylor ended up rolling onto me and making herself really comfy in my womanly lap. Jacob, knowing I'm allergic, offered to take her away, but this was actually the first time a cat has ever done something like this to me. I've always been a bit of a cat magnet, if you want to call it that, because I act like they don't exist, which they interpret as me not pushing their boundaries and creating a comfortable environment for them to come up to me on their own terms. But never have I felt like a cat has chosen me like this before. I told Jacob I'm happy to let her stay comfortable on me, and I'll just reap the consequences of my sowing later on. This was my first extremely positive experience with the cat, and I honestly felt really happy and special and wanted to enjoy it. A few hours later, I'm saying my goodbyes, and during the drive back home, I realized I was completely fine. No sneezing, no itchy eyes, straight up nothing. I was so confused and curious. Thus, the start of my little cat experiment began. Every time I went over to Jacob's place, I would let the cats be as social as they wanted with me. If Taylor wanted to sit by me, I'd let her. If Fraser wanted attention, I would pet him. At one point, while we were watching a movie, Taylor literally decided to lay down on my neck, filling every one of my breaths with cat dander and hair. And you know what happened? No reaction.
Nope.
Not even a little drip of mucus.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Somehow,
cool.
sometime, I'd grown out of my cat allergy and never noticed. Apparently,
Yeah.
every 7 years, people's allergies have the chance to change. Maybe being surrounded by my friends' cats all throughout my childhood could have helped my body get more familiar with them. Either way, I've now unlocked the skill to survive cats. Oh, guys, it was incredible.
Yay,
Now that I'd been
cats are
freed
just-
from my
yay.
shackles, I immediately started taking time to get to know cats more.
Okay, that makes
Instantly,
sense.
they
You
felt
got
so
a
much
cat,
more
you're
cute
not
and
allergic
cool
anymore.
and
Okay.
approachable, and I was really starting to like them more, especially since
That's
every
really,
time I would hang out at Jacob's place,
so
Taylor would walk
relatable, of
over and
course.
be around me and
touch the
purr, and
cat.
it was amazing to be loved by a cat. So I really like cats now. And after some time,
Okay,
I
because you're not allergic
decided
anymore.
I
Yay.
wanted one too. Jacob and I
Good.
decided to peruse a local cat rescues website
Okay.
just to see what cats were available. I don't want to
Okay.
get one right away. There's a lot I have going on, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that one. I want that one so bad. It's so
That
cute.
one.
What's its name? Tostada. Tostada, my beloved.
That
We
one.
have to send in an application. We have to. Hi, my name's Jaden. I love this cat. Please let me adopt it. Please, please, please,
I want
please.
it.
What? You guys know me. I'm weak-willed and impulsive. My first mistake was liking cats to begin with. The rescue reached out a few days later for a cat screening interview to make sure we would be
You
a
guys don't
good
do
fit
that?
to be cat
You guys
parents.
don't do that?
After being
Come on, I'm
approved,
not-
they told
that's
us
not
we could
weird.
pick any cat we wanted that was in their care. Of course, I asked about Tostada, but we were given the unfortunate news that she had already been adopted. No! We looked at the other cats
Sorry
available
for-
on their
sorry
website,
for
but
the loss.
unfortunately, none of them really stood out to me. The rescue ended up inviting us to a little Meet
Find
the
it.
Cats event they were hosting where we could see all the cats they had up for adoption in person, which was
Okay.
awesome because that was actually the first time I'd ever actually seen and held a kitten before. It was amazing. But as cute and tiny as they all were, there still wasn't one that called to me. I pried Jacob away from the kittens, headed
Okay.
home, and we started waiting. Every day I would check the rescue's cat list to see if any new ones caught my eye. I didn't even know what I was looking for, but waited for the universe to send me my perfect cat nonetheless.
Perfect
One morning
cat.
I refreshed the page and saw one new kitten added. A tortie they found in some dumpster named Scrabble.
Scrabble.
With the biggest eyes and forehead I'd seen in my life.
Can you adopt
Something
it?
about this bizarre little creature called to me. I messaged the rescue about Scrabble
Just
and
like-
they told
yep.
me she's available, putting me
Yep.
in touch with
Ye-
Scrabble's foster
Yep.
parents. Every
I want that one. I want that one. I want that little dumpster cat. Okay.
day they sent me new little pictures of kitten Scrabble, and every
wanted-
photo I
want-
fell more
wanted
and
up
more
it.
in love with her. She seemed
Okay.
so silly and playful, and those eyes. We got on a video call and they told me all about how big of a personality she has. Out of the 5 other kittens they were fostering, she was by far their favorite. The whole time
Okay.
we were talking, Scrabble was flipping around in their arms and looking at the camera with her giant orbs. I left
Okay.
that call knowing I found my cat.
Yay.
I needed to have little kitten Scrabble. Meeting her in person only cemented it. She was shy at first, but after flinging around her worm toy, she immediately started hopping around and being the life of the party. I talked a
Right.
lot to her foster parents, and they just gushed about how they wish they could keep her since they all loved her so much. Even though the rescue called her Scrabble, obviously that was more of a placeholder name. The foster parents called her Cammy, but neither of those really fit to me. However, I knew one name that I liked. Tostada. Yeah, I stole another kitten's name and pasted it on mine. So what? Big deal. Tostada is a great name. My Tostada is way more of a
Tostada.
tostada than the other Tostada anyway. Look at her. I
Makes
would have
sense.
left with little Tostada in
Hey,
my arms
well,
that
that's-
moment if I
that's a-
could.
you know, you
but
find out that
unfortunately,
name is
Jacob and I were
assuming-
going out of town
assuming
for
and
3
you like it and
million
you-
weeks
yeah.
and had to wait
No
to
big
take her
deal.
home until after we came back. She was
Okay.
all I could think about the entire time. I
No.
was shoving Tostada photos in everyone's face every chance I got. The foster parents were sending Tostada updates every day. I was overflowing with yearning for this cat. She was growing and learning about the world without me. Take me home to my child. Literally, the moment Jacob and I landed, we drove straight from the airport to the foster home to pick her up. I
Okay.
could not wait. We arrived home with +1 Tostada. I couldn't believe it. I have a mammal
got
now.
Tostada.
And sorry, other mammal owners, but it's the best mammal in the whole wide universe. Jacob and I spent
Sure.
the entire
Sure.
day playing playing with her, letting her get used to her new surroundings. She was so cute and so tiny. Here's a video of her eating wet food with a big old chomp. As someone who's owned birds for 7 years at that point, it felt so strange to have a pet that was significantly less fragile. And also draws significantly less blood. You mean this thing can't fly up and get hit by the ceiling fan? Insane! I've had Tostada for a while now. She's 2 years old at the time of me posting this. And let me tell you, this thing has become a creature. First of all, eyes, still giant, and she never blinks. Look at this. She was sitting on my desk looking like that long enough for me to notice, get my phone out of my pocket, pull up the camera app, put the camera in her face, and take a photo. And here's like 4 more. She is also not that smart. I'm sure you can deduce that by how she looks, but this thing has a single brain cell, and it's just another version of herself up there with a joystick. Jacob and I are fully convinced she can only form a few thoughts a day, and only in single word nouns. Evidently, Tostada is also very scared of everything, always has been. Loud noises, quiet noises, no noises, movement of any kind. Even Jacob, a person she's been around all her little life post-dumpster. There's been times where he'll be at his desk, moves his chair just a smidge, and she's darting out of the room. One time we were trying to explain to some friends how skittish she genuinely can be, and demonstrated it by grabbing a toy literally in front of her, raising it up a bit, lightly dropping it on the floor, still in front of her, and she bolted. You know how cats are genetically built to be good at balancing? Well, Tostada can't even do that. She trips and falls and misplaces her feet all the time. On multiple occasions, she has tried to walk across my L-shaped desk and just missed and fell down. That's like the one thing that makes a cat, and nope, doesn't hit the mark there either. She's gotten better, but as a kitten, Tostada couldn't even jump. After I built her first cat tower, I watched as she attempted to jump up to the 2nd level, not quite make it, and had to slam her arms down on the thing to hoist herself up like she was mountain climbing. But oh, is she the sweetest little thing. When I got a cat, I was expecting it to want its own space, come around when it wants, you know, general cat things. But this creature follows me from room to room with those high beams of hers. She sits on my lap while I'm at my computer, lays on my giant Pokemon plushes, mostly just looks up at me from the floor and just stares. When I'm sleeping, she'll just crawl into bed and tuck herself up right next to me. Look at all these photos of her straight up on me when I'm sleeping. Don't look too close though, I don't have makeup on. Bedtime is sacred to her. She loves bedtime. If I'm working late, Tostada will come into my office around 9 or 10 p.m., aka past Tostada bedtime, and just start crying, scratching on my chair, rolling around on the floor. It's pitiful. And if I still don't move after that, she'll go into the bedroom and drag over her string toy she always plays with. It's just so sad and pathetic. I always play string with her when she brings it over though, don't worry. But lately, she's picked up another routine habit, which is pats. Not all cats like the pats, but Tostada lives off them. It's when you just slap a cat's butt and it looks like you're hurting them, but they actually love it. However, Tostada's really particular about pats. First of all, I'm the only one allowed to give her pats. Jacob has tried and she runs away scared and offended every single time. Second, she has to receive pats on a specific spot on the floor of the closet. If I try to give her pats in like my office, she bolts to her floor spot, staring at me to continue them over there. Also, she begs to be pat every single night. Like clockwork, she'll sit like a gargoyle in front of the closet and cry pitifully until I come over there. Now, when I finally come over for pats, she'll flop on the floor and start horizontally rock climbing her way across the floor with her claws and tangle herself up in the Ethernet cables while I keep up the pats. You think I'm joking, but I'm very much not. This is the only way she accepts pats, and I have to give them to her every night or else she's miserable. Tostada's world is so small. She's really just around me, Jacob, Taylor, and Frasier, but she loves her simple family so much. When Kitten Tostada first met Frasier, she was terrified of him. She'd been around other adult cats before, but she'd never seen a flat cat in her life, and she was mortified. Of course, she's since warmed up to him, and they play together and hang out all the time. They're best friends. But Tostada loves Taylor. Always has. She looks up to Taylor like a little baby sister admiring her cool, awesome older sibling. Unfortunately,
sort of
Taylor hates it. They literally have a SpongeBob Squidward type of sibling relationship, and Tostada is
SpongeBob.
so oblivious to it.
Just
Taylor
this-
has
just
annoyingly
dumb. Yeah, this is
swatted
dumb,
at
cute
Tostada
cat.
so many times just for
Poor Tostada.
existing around her that
But it's like
Tostada
you don't
now
really
thinks
mind
it's a
it.
fun little game they play and will start chasing and swatting back
Okay.
at Taylor happily, not
Taylor's like,
understanding cat social
Nah.
cues. Of course, never in a way that's too far, but just enough to get on Taylor's nerves even more. Between the three of them, they all have such different little personalities and relationships to each other. It's made our lives so much more entertaining. And to
Okay.
anyone concerned about the birds, don't worry. I've
They're
got
good.
Ari and Tofu very separated from the cats. They're
Okay.
safe in their own blocked off room connected by a double door system that ensures no possible interaction between bird and cat. If anyone is thinking about getting cats and birds as pets, it is possible, but just make sure the two are very separate, especially if you
True.
have smaller birds like conures or budgies. I'm
True.
sure there's people out there that have trained their cats to be fine around a pet bird, but to me, all it takes is one accident or attack
Yeah.
for you to just not have a
No.
bird anymore. Plus, having the two of them takes a huge amount of time and commitment. I've said it before and I'll say it
birds just
forever.
fine.
I love my birds to death, but they do not make good pets for the very large majority of people. In terms of
Okay.
allergies, I do
I
think
don't know
I
about
was
birds. I don't know.
originally still a
don't know about
little
birds.
bit allergic to
But we're only
Tostada,
a bird, I don't know.
ironically. When I first
But
got
okay.
her, I was sneezy and sniffling. Nothing allergy pills couldn't fix, and it never was as bad as my original cat allergy. But I think I've been growing out of that one too, because nowadays I don't have any reaction to her at all. Bodies are
great.
a mystery. I am building my immunity to
Yeah.
everything. Next up is rat poison. I didn't think I would make a video
Rat poison.
talking
It'll
about
be
this
just-
thing, but
it's just a couple
Tostada's
years.
just
You'll be
got
just
such
fine
a funny
drinking
little
rat poison anytime you
personality
want.
and has become such a big part of my life.
it's
She
just-
may be the description of autism, but I love her more than the world itself, and I know I'm the center of her
Autism.
little life too. I don't even
That's
see her
not-
as
I
a
mean,
cat.
yeah, sure.
She's just a little creature that follows me around looking weird, but I love it, and I'm so
Just a
glad I
little
grew
pet.
out of my cat
Just a
allergy
pet walking
just so
around.
I can have her. It really has been so different owning a
Right.
cat, mainly because I know
Tostada,
Tostada
oh,
won't
just-
just
Tostada,
bite me at
Tostada,
any
Tostada,
given
Tomato.
chance, unlike some
Tostada,
avian
Tostada,
creatures.
Tostada,
Thanks for watching the video. Heads up,
Tostada,
I'm
Tostada,
going to be
Tostada,
announcing
Tostada.
new
I mean,
merch again soon,
Oh
so
yeah,
be
that's a
on the
bird.
lookout for that.
That's a bird to me. Oh, look at that.
And
Oh,
the
this
last
is the
drop
cat.
went so
Wow. Yeah, look grumpy.
well, and I'm really
Shut up,
glad
just
that
shut up,
so
just
many
shut
of you
up,
guys
just shut up,
enjoyed it.
shut up,
I'm
shut
so
up,
excited
shut up,
to
just shut up,
finally
just
be
shut up.
getting back
Tennis
into
ball,
making
tennis
fun.
ball, great one. Tennis ball, nice, nice, JD, nice, JD, tennis ball. All right, okay, that was it. That was it. That was me. That was it. Jaiden, yay, right? Yay, almost and Jaiden, yay, I completed. There's a lot more, but I just want I want to make a different type of videos, but I am still continuing on my story time animations videos, so reactions. So, all right, goodbye.